My name is Abubakar Yahuza Maidelailu, though I'm popularly known as Barrister Yahuza. I'm from this local government, Jalingo, precisely Traki A, though I reside in Traki B. I was a former member representing Jalingo 1 State Constituency within the period of 2019 to 2023. And that I'm a practicing legal practitioner of about 19 years post-call. Thank you for letting me know that people are talking about me, that I was one of the most active lawmakers. I forgot to tell you that currently I'm a member of African Democratic Congress, which is ADC. Yes, and that I'm vying for a political office in the next coming general elections. Talking about my time when I was in the Tribal State House of Assembly and the motions or bills which I sponsored or participated, actually there are too many motions and bills which I was part and parcel of. I think in the 40 or thereabout motions/bills which we were able to handle during our tenure, I personally contributed to coming into fruition of about 10 motions/bills out of the 40. Yes, I contributed almost to 10 or thereabout of motions and bills. And that one of the motions which people might not look at it as if it is something, but it is something to me. I'm very much happy whenever I remember about it or whenever people talk about it. That was the motion which I did, public importance, motion of public importance. It was an emergency situation that arose as at then. If you could remember, during the tenure of the late former President Buhari, there was a program which many of our mothers, women generally, benefited, which is food vendor. Yes, when I was in the house, there was a time, I think about more than 1,000 women who we refer to as food vendors were removed. Their names were removed from the list, and they constituted a representative committee which met me at home. They told me, they gave me evidence that they are part of the food vendors, but unfortunately without notice, without any reason advanced before their names being removed. So their names were removed from the list of the food vendors. They were not being paid for about 2 to 3 months. So I took up the matter. I discussed with my colleagues in the House, specifically the then Speaker, Right Honorable Abel Dia. He welcomed the idea. So I brought up a motion for public importance, wherein we raised that issue, we deliberated about it. It was sponsored by me single-handedly. We deliberated about it, we discussed about it on the floor of the House, and my colleagues unanimously agreed with me, and it was endorsed. It was all the resolutions, all the reliefs sought in the motion were graciously approved. The resolutions were drawn, and that the managers of the food vendors were directed to reinstate the names of all the food vendors whose names were removed. So all of them, their names were reinstated. These women felt so much happy. They prayed for me, and that was a major motion or bill, so to motion that I can be proud of to say is one of those things, that I did, which affected so many people. The other one, which I happened to be the chairman of the committee, or it was an ad hoc committee that was set up. It was on this marshal that is now being in operation. Though the motion was initiated by way of an executive bill. The bill was initiated by way of an executive bill, but it fell under my committee, or so to say. An ad hoc committee was constituted, and I was given to be the chairman of the committee. In that committee, almost the members of the committee were members who are experienced on security matters. So I chaired that committee. We ran through the bill. We made so many observations. One of the key observations which I made, and I stood by it, the video clips are there, was the fact that it was a bill in the State House of Assembly, and that we do not have constitutional right to legislate on anything that has to do with arms and ammunition. In that bill, there was a proposal that some arms and that the martial guard should be armed. But our fear then was that, considering as at then there was serious issue of security. So, and we thought these people are not trained personnel. They are just like volunteer members of the community who would be recruited. So we thought there was no need for them to be armed with ammunitions, and we deliberated on that issue. I personally raised the issue up, and it was agreed upon. And that issue of arms and ammunition, was put aside, was kept aside. So we were able to handle the bill to conclusion. It was finally being passed into law, and now you can see our brothers and sisters as members of the martial guards who have been contributing in saying that our communities, live in peace. So there are so many other things. I also initiated a bill on sexual harassment of our students and sisters in various public institutions and private institutions. If you could remember, there was an incident of, I think, was it Sales for Grade or Sales for Promotion that happened in Lagos. So that was the major issue that that led us to also think of to initiate a bill. The bill was co-sponsored by myself and Right Honorable Ebedia, and I think with Honorable Ajia Garba from Takum. So three of us sponsored that bill, but I was the very person who spearheaded the deliberation and everything about the bill. So, however, I don't think the bill was successfully being passed into law, because we left, and then at the time we left, the governor didn't assent to the bill. So there are so many other bills. I think when I was in the office, an issue came up. The then governor Darius wanted to privatize Mambila tea. So a committee was set up, of which I was part of the committee, headed by Honorable Member Abadu of Krumi. So in that bill, I observed personally that if that Mambila tea company was sold at that particular cheap, almost like a giveaway price, it would be a loss to Tribal State. And that why not, maybe enter into a partnership with some investors so that they can invest and reboost the company. But instead, the then government wanted to sell it off. So I could remember I raised some legal issues about it. and that all the legal issues I raised were considered to be germane, and as a result of which I think the issue was stepped down. These are part of the modest contribution which I did in the, while I was in the House. There are so many other ones, but I could remember just few. Another one which affects my legal profession, which affects my profession, that is the bill on administration of criminal justice law. I initiated the bill. I mounted pressure, NBA mounted pressure on me, Nigerian Bar Association, since I am their member, they mounted pressure on me. So I also mounted pressure on my colleagues in the House that they should allow me to sponsor a bill on administration of criminal justice law, so that we should also be moving at par with our colleagues from the other jurisdictions. So it was consented to, it was agreed upon. I initiated bill. While on the process, the state government saw the need to come in. So they came in, and my own bill was substituted with that of the state government. It was finally took over. The state government finally took it up, and that the bill became a law. Now it is in operation, administrative criminal justice law, tribal state. The reason why I'm talking about it is that had it been maybe I didn't raise it up, I didn't mount a pressure, I didn't initiate a bill to, on that particular law, maybe the state government as at then wouldn't have bothered to take it up. So I used my initiative to initiate the bill, and when the government saw that actually we were trying to push it through, they now came in and took it up, and it is now a law in our state that and that has helped in the administration of criminal justice law. Previously, when someone is arrested by police, they will just go and dump you by the side, prepare your statement, and take it to court that this statement is yours. But by this law now, if police or any prosecuting agency here in tribal state, will take your statement, they have to take it in the presence of someone that you have agreed with, or that you suggested, or your lawyer, and if need be, they should video record it. So all these are some of the innovations in the law, which is very, very timely, which helped, or which is helping now in the administration of justice in tribal state. Yes, actually, if we look at it, Jalingo Eurozone as it is now, there is no representation. There is a very, very poor representation, I'm sorry to say it. Yes, the occupant of the seat now is just warming the seat. He's not doing anything, nobody is hearing from him, he's not representing us. This constancy, Jalingo Eurozone, is lacking representation at the National Assembly. So we have to get a very strong representative who will be voicing out our needs at the national level, who will be who will be bringing the dividends of democracy to our people. But we cannot be in the state capital and be just wallowing in this situation, which is which is very, very bad. If we look at it as it is now, if we compare our constancy to some other constancies, even within the state, you find that we are lagging behind. Just compare this constancy with some of the constancies. I don't want to mention names, or if need be, I can even mention them. Compare this constancy with the constancy of Dr. Marco Seni. You will see the difference. You will see the difference very well. But our brother here, it seems like he doesn't know the role of a legislator at the national level. He's lacking the experience, he's lacking the confidence, he's lacking the knowledge, he's lacking the whereabouts. He is not patriotic. He is not representing us. So, and we cannot just sit down idle and be looking at him while some other jurisdictions are moving forward. There are so many projects which were started by the previous administration, but he couldn't do anything to see that they have been completed, or at least there are some progress on those projects. Government is a continuum. So if he comes on board, he should at least see that some of these projects have been taken over and that he's doing something about them. But if you stop some of our people here within the state or within Jalingo, even within this area, Traki A, if you can stop some of our people here and ask them who is our representative in the National Assembly, who Jalingo Rosde, most of them don't even know him. And those who know him might only know him by name. And some people will only know him because he's a son of our revered traditional ruler. But most people don't even know him personally. They don't know him by face. They don't know him even on the media. They don't see him. There is no representation on the ground. Nothing is on the ground. Nothing he has to show. If now during the campaign, if he comes on, on the ground to campaign, what does he has to campaign with? I can tell you confidently what I did in Tribal State House Assembly, just for Jalingo 1, supersede what supersede what he is claiming to have done as a member of the Federal or National Assembly, as a member of the National Assembly. So we know what it takes to represent our people. So that is why I see it as a duty, as a responsibility upon myself to see that we are elected to go into that place so that we represent our people. This contest that I'm going for is not my own personal contest. This is a contest for our people. I am the voice of our people. Our people yearn for a quality representation, and they sought for my consent to go and vie to represent them at the national level. So that is the main reason. Otherwise, had it been there is a very good representation, I wouldn't even think of contesting for Jalingo Elizé. I wouldn't even think of that. But there's no representation. I'm sorry to say it. There's no representation at all.
Okay, moving forward, many politicians make promises during campaigns but fail to deliver once elected into office. What makes your leadership style different? And what mechanism will you put in place to ensure transparency and accountability to the people?
Yes. One of the major reasons why promises are not fulfilled, one of the main reasons is that not knowing the nature of your job. As a member or as a legislator, you cannot just go and start promising people what an executive can do. If you promise them what an executive can do, you end up failing them. But you promise them according to your constitutional mandate. Don't promise them outside your constitutional mandate. So I don't promise what I cannot do. For instance, I cannot just go and start promising you that if you elect me, I'll provide roads for you from here to there. I will provide this, maybe airport for you. I will provide hospital for you. As a legislator, if you promise your people this kind of project, you end up failing them. What you promise them, that you facilitate. You know their problems. They are lacking good trust. So you facilitate through the constituency projects to see that you request for a particular area within your constituency to be captured in the budget. You will do that and follow up with the implementation. So, but if you promise that you will do it from your own pocket, so you might end up failing them. So, mostly people promise what they know they cannot fulfill. I cannot just go and start promising you that I will provide, some sort of projects which are not within my constitutional mandate. So this is it. What makes my own style of leadership different is that when I was in the office as a member of Jalingo State Constituency, I made sure that in each of my areas, I appointed a coordinator. That coordinator, is my eyes and ears in that place. The coordinator will be feeding me with what is happening. And if you look at it, the way political parties are structured, in each of the wards, you have the leadership of your own party. But the reason why sometimes we appoint coordinators to support the political parties is that some of the members of your constituents are not your political party people. They are not members of your political party. And still, they have, the right for you to represent them. So if you have a coordinator, you'll be liaising with the people of that area and with some of your stakeholders, community stakeholders. So you'll be knowing what is happening in your area. You'll be knowing what is their problem. You'll be knowing what do they want and how do you handle it. So from time to time, I'm talking from experience. What I did from time to time, I used to engage, my constituents directly. So from there, you'll be able to know their problems. Sometimes the solution itself comes from them. Let me cite an example for you. There was a time, this area, NTA area, where NTA is situated now, there is one transformer, there is one Juma mosque around that place. So the transformer which was there was a time it burnt down completely. It wasn't functional. So they came to me and complained. When they told me the nature of their complaint, from there we discussed and we got the solution. The solution was, I now instructed them or guided them from my own little experience as a legal practitioner for them to write. So when, they now wrote to YEDC and they highlighted all their challenges, I pick it up from there. I followed it up to the conclusion until when we got a brand new transformer, which I paid for it to be installed. I facilitated for it to be brought here to Jalingo, and I facilitated for it to be installed and fenced. We now sat down and recruited some of the boys in that area who will now be like the security for the transformer. So you see, we got the solution from them. So that is how I handle most of the areas. And there was a time we sat down with the people of Bashin here. Bashin is within Jalingo. It's under Traki B. But do you know that until 2020, Bashin here within Jalingo, Bashin community as a community doesn't have a light? There was no light. They were not connected to the power, to electricity. So the Mayangwa, the village head of that area, contacted me. We sat down. We looked at the issues. We discussed. I now met with the people of the YEDC. I paid for everything. They now, from a comprehensive area, they installed poles and cables until it reached the community. I took light to that place until my tenure in this around from 20, I think it was in 2020 or 2021. Machine here in Jalingo didn't have light. So these are how I handled my constituents while I was in the office. So I will use the same style, but in a broader way and in a more advanced way, because I've learned some of the mistakes which or which we made while in the office. So I will advance those strategies, those methods, to see that now I handle my constancy in a very, very effective manner. Even though I will not be on ground here, but I will station my people in each and every local government, Jalingo, Yoro, and Zim, to see that whatever is going on, I will be informed promptly, and that I will find a solution. And I know the kind of people I'm working with. I'm working with people who are very patriotic, who might not like, to see that we fail. So they also put in their best to see that, God willing, we succeed while in the office. I'm within that youth constituency. So I know our challenges, I know our problems, and I know what I did while in the office. I know practically almost every youth here within my constituency, could tell you the way we handle some of our policies or some of our programs. These youths, most of them, these youth you are seeing roaming about, most of them don't have even certificate, even this secondary school certificate. I could remember when I was in the office, this Mohammed Nya that we are seeing now across my office here, I liaised with the school. In almost every round of SSC examination, we used to register not less than 100 to 120 students in this Mohammed Nya alone. The records are there. The Mohammed Nya is not far. It's here. If you meet the principal as a then, Abdulrazak Halilu, if you meet one of their staff there, Zubelu Obandoma, there are so many staff there. If you meet them, they will tell you. We used to pay for the students, these students that you see roaming about, to write their exams. So we will still, fine-tune this from SSCE to seeing that we get admissions for them, to see that we sponsor some of them. Even as at then, we sponsored many of them to go for diplomas. Some of them went for degrees in the universities. So we still widen this program to see that we accommodate most of them or many of them. Then, while in the office, I'm using my tenure in the office to illustrate some of these issues you raised. While in the office, I could remember in Balade alone, there was a time I requested for at least 50 young men, or rather youths, to train them as shoemakers. We trained them within, I think, within the period of, 3 months or so. We trained them, and after their training, we now got them some tools with which they will use to be independent. So the person who trained them, I think his name is Awal, is there. The chairman of the party, Asaden Alaji Julde, is there. Some of our coordinators are still there. If you contact them, they will tell you this information. We did that for our youths. And as part of our effort to see that youth have been taken care of during our tenure, if you go to model secondary school now, model primary and secondary school now, there is one skill acquisition center, Girl Child Skill Acquisition Center. I was the very person who facilitated for it to be brought to this place through universal basic education. I lobbied for it. I facilitated for it to be brought here. And when it was brought, I was called. We went, and the entire block was constructed, and swim machines were brought there, computers were brought there so that to equip our sisters in entrepreneurship, so that they will learn the art of sewing, They'll learn computer skills and some of those things. So we have the youth in our mind, and we know youth are the foundation of any given society. If you want to see the future of your society, look at the young men in that society. If they have brighter future, so you know that your society has a brighter future. So make sure that we take into consideration the fact that we need to build our future, the future of our youth. We need to equip them. We need to, make them to be responsible, so that our society will also be an egalitarian society, will be a society which we will be proud of. So we have so many policies to consider when we are in the office. That is why you talk about employment. That is why while I was in the office, I facilitated for employment of about 17 of our youths. And I can call them by their names and their houses, where they are coming from and where they are working right now. 4 are in the judiciary, 4 are in the House of Assembly, 4 are in the state government, and 4 are lecturers. Then there are 2 who read health-related courses. They are working with this health management something. Yes, we have 2 who are lecturers with Federal Polytechnic. We have 2 who are lecturers with colleges here, education and agri. We have 4 in the state government. We have 4 in the judiciary. We have 4 in the House of Assembly. So we know the value of our youth, who facilitate for their employment. If I get this opportunity as a member of National Assembly representing Jalingo Erozim, I will make sure that our young men, secured very good jobs. I will make sure that they have been employed in the very good places. So, because I am also a young man, I know what I went through. Because you are a lady, so you might tend to look at it from the angle of being only the men part of faith or male part of faith. If you say youth, it incorporates women also as well. They are like this. My sisters, they are also part of youth.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are youth. So yes, I understand. So, but specifically, I will answer this, in this way. While I was talking to you, I told you what I did for women. This youth vendor, I told you about it, and I told you about girl child education, which I did in the model. So, women, if you look at it, what is needed for women to be empowered is not that much as what is needed for men. It's not that much, because if you give a woman 50,000 naira now and ask her to put it into proper use, if she is a business-oriented person, if you come back in 2 months, you will meet her with 150,000 naira. So they are more resourceful, more productive, with the apology to our male counterparts. Women are very, very productive. So I'll use this opportunity. I'll use the fact that we need to empower our women so that we have a productive society. Because if you neglect the part of women constitute about 60 to 70% of our population. If you neglect that part alone, you are neglecting the entire society. If you equip a woman, you are equipping a mother, you are equipping her with her kids. So I will look at it based on the community base. It depends on the culture and the needs of that particular community, or the needs of women in that particular community. For instance, here in Jalingo, there are sections of East where there are women are not that good in doing this petty trading. So this type of women, you now train them in what we call skill acquisition. Train them on how to be good fashion designers. Train them on how to be good artists. Train them on how to be, how to be computer literate, and more especially if you train them on these health-related courses. Let them have even diploma, certificate, degrees in these health-related courses. You will see changes in their life. Even this midwifery you are seeing. If you can pick some of these our sisters, pay for their WAEC, let them write another secondary school examination, get good results, send them to School of Nursing or any one of these institutions where they will obtain this midwifery knowledge or skills. You will see changes in their life. So, and some women who are into business, what we will do, we will look at the nature of their business and, boost their, their financial base, so that, they will now have a capital, a very good capital, so that they can also be on their own. So we have model on how to do. And sometimes some of these things you are seeing, it all boils down on the needs of the women at that particular moment. So, but from our antecedents, you know that we have women at heart. So we will now broaden that things, all those things that we have done while in the office. But if you look at it as it is now, even though campaign has not started, but we are talking about practical things. If you look at it from the practical aspect of it, what do our women now benefiting, from this representation? Is he even looking at them? Is he listening to them, to their yearnings? Do they even have his time? How do they even contact him? Tell me, how do you even contact the present member House of Representatives representing Jalingo, representing Jalingo Iluzi? How do we even contact him? He doesn't even have representatives. Yes, very simple. Yes, as I said earlier, I will have coordinators all over the places, because I do not reside here. My office will not be here. So I will have coordinators in Jalingo. I will have coordinators in Zim. I will have coordinators in Yoro. So these coordinators will be liaising with the stakeholders and with the party structures that we have on the ground. They will be liaising basically with the stakeholders of every community, every given community. So from there, you will be having information, you will be knowing what is happening within your constituency. So some of those things that you can handle promptly, you handle them even before coming down to your constituency here. And those things that need your physical presence, so you will now come down to see if they are urgent. Those ones which are not urgent, you will now periodically be coming to see your people. I intend at least to engage my constituents every after 3 months. Every after 3 months I'll be engaging them, but that doesn't mean that will be the only time to engage them. In between, on emergency issues, you'll be coming down. In between, when issues arises, you have to come down. In between, you have your coordinators. If issues come up, you'll be informed. You will be handling those issues. So aside from engaging, aside from liaising with the stakeholders, government is one. In each of these communities, we have chairmen, we have councillors, we have government institutions there. So we'll be liaising, we'll be communicating. Even if they are not, members of my political party, or they want their seats not through my own political party, still we'll be engaging with them, we'll be contacting them, so that we see how we liaise and do the needful for our community. All the essence is just to work for our community. That is just it.
Okay, sir. Now, finally, what message do you have for the people of Jalingo, Yoro, and Zim as they prepare to make their decisions at the poll?
Yes. What I will say at this juncture is that let them wise up. Let them make an informed decision. Let them place us all on, assess us all and see who will actively represent them, who has the qualities to represent them, who have the zeal to work for them, who has the mind to move their society forward. Jalingo Eurozine is being left behind. So we need someone, not only someone, a very strong person with a strong mind, with fine qualities, with track record of doing what is needed to represent them. We need to be hearts at the national level. We cannot afford to be sending dummies, to be sending seat warmers, to be sending people who will be there just for themselves to represent us. We need people who will be there for our community. We need people who will be there to represent us. We need our voices to be heard. If you are going through the activities or the programs or the sittings or the sessions of National Assembly, you'll be seeing so many other communities are well represented. You'll be seeing how the representatives of some other communities are standing up to speak for their people. But ours here, especially Jalingo Eurozine, I don't think he knows why he's even there. Why can't our people, or why can't our representatives here liaise with the representative of the communities in Adamawa to see that this small road between Adamawa, Numa, between Numa and Jalingo is being taken care of? Why? One of our representatives earlier on, Honorable Kasimu Bello Megani, did his best in seeing that he facilitated a route from here in Jalingo, this old Pantishawa road, to Yoro. But since when he left office, the place is now no longer motorable. The project has not even been completed. Why? What has our representative been doing for about 3 years now? What has he done about it? There are so many other projects which are left behind. So we need our representative to be speaking for us, to be talking about this federal project, to be talking about our people. We have been having incessant, insecurities. Our representative, you will never see them talking about it in the National Assembly. You will not even see them even granting interviews with the media talking about these our problems. Sometimes these issues are not addressed on the floor of the House. Sometimes these issues are being addressed through media. If you talk about them, the government will pay attention to those issues. If you contact media and speak about those issues, government will government will pay attention to those issues. Some of those things that people are talking about that I did on the floor of the House while in the House of Assembly, some of those things I achieved them not through a debate on the floor of the House. Some of them I achieved them through lobbying. Some of them I achieved them through media. Some of them I spoke about them on the media, or some of them I spoke about them through our colleagues. I went there as a minority, but I liaised with my colleagues, and we did a lot of things. So our present member representing Jalingo Eurozine is not doing enough. It's not doing anything. It's a seat warmer. We need him to come back. We need a very good representative who will be there to speak for our people. So if you place us all on the table, our people should be able to know that among all of us, who will be there for us.